first we had Mario Royale, a fairly awesome free-to-play game from Inferno Plus that pitted you up against a ton of other players playing as Mario, trying to be one of the first 3 people to make it to the end of the first 4 stages in a level. Well, Nintendo got wind of this and they didn't like it. They said, hells no, this is not happening. But Inferno Plus, he was ready. We got DMCA Mario, and everything seemed good. Until now, that is. Sorry, your battle royale is in another castle. Wow, Nintendo really wasn't having it, were you guys? Damn. Unfortunately, Uncle Nintendo's lawyers have informed me that despite my best efforts, the game still infringes their copyright. They refused to give me specifics. I asked multiple times, what kind of nonsense is that? You know, then the dude could be like, okay, I could reshape this to not infringe on what they're saying, what their claims are. But they won't tell him. But it would seem that either the level design or general mechanics are still too close to the original game. I don't know. I mean, jumping, running from one end of a stage to another, that's not really infringement. The level designs, I think they might have been changed slightly. Sure, there was sprite swaps and whatnot, but if it was the same game and the levels were just completely different or slightly different, I mean, is it really infringing on anything? I mean, like, you look at it like when a Flappy Bird came out, like how many different Flappy Bird clones were there? You know, you can't really copyright a gameplay mechanic. You know, you can make sure your characters and your artwork is copyrighted, but the mechanics, not so much, right? But there we go. As a result, I can't just blindly change the game and leave it up. Doing so would put me at risk of further legal actions. I'll likely talk in detail about the game and its short lifespan on my YouTube channel in the coming weeks. Sorry about this, guys. It was fun while it lasted. Here lies Infringio, and his brother Copyright Infringio. He was too good for this world. It's sad to see him go. It really is. I mean, wow, like Nintendo, I get it. You know, you want to handle business, people using your stuff. I understand. Do we think sometimes that you should just let things slide? Sure, a lot of us can argue that all day. A lot of people are going to have some animosity toward Nintendo because of stuff like this. But, you know, it's within their rights when it's their characters, when it's their game. But this time, I mean, the first example, I get it. It was just damn straight up Mario. Nintendo said, hells no, you ain't doing it. And he changed it up with Infringio. Comical, right? But now it's like, why couldn't they just tell him what was specifically wrong? What is it that they were stating? Like the character design, the level layout, the gameplay mechanics, even though a lot of this stuff, I think you could argue, like where was DMCA Royale infringing upon anything? Like I didn't play the Infringio version too much, but it was kind of fun. There was still a lot of cheaters though, but it seemed like the levels were quite a bit different. You know, maybe there was some similarities. Maybe that's what it was. The level design. I don't know, but it's just crazy. You know, this guy, he did this, like I said in the previous video, for YouTube views. You know, he thought it was a cool project, turned into something a lot bigger than what he initially anticipated, it seems. A lot of people had fun with it, but it was mainly just something that he wanted to do to share on his YouTube channel. And that's what he did. And I get it. Take it down. But then, you know, when you change everything up, it just, what kind of leg does Nintendo have to stand on here? You know, some people say, well, why did he take the Mario sprites? Why did he do all that to begin with? And, you know, I do understand that argument. People are always like, why would you make a fan game? Why would you use somebody else's character or design? Why don't you just make something fresh yourself? And that argument, it's kind of two-sided, because if you're just somebody making something as a hobby or as a fan, What's wrong with a fan game? What's wrong with making a hack of a game? You know, changing something up with a game that you like or that you think, you know, people will enjoy. To me, it seems odd when people argue that if they're not selling it, okay. If they're selling it, yeah, why the hell do you do that? That's stupid. But if it's just out of fandom, if it's just out of a hobby, I don't really see the issue. You know, this guy would not have gotten as much attention as he did if it wasn't Mario, right? If he just put out DMCA Royale, I mean, DMCA Royale wouldn't have existed without Mario Royale. If he would have made his game just inspired by Mario, everything different level designs, different characters, so on and so forth, who would have played it? Nobody. Nobody would have known anything about it. You know, Inferno Plus, he has a fairly large YouTube channel and he has a lot of cool content, you know, so it's not really so much about gaining attention. It's just doing something interesting for YouTube on his part, I think. But if he just put out something that was like, hey, this is kind of like Mario, like who would have really been like, oh, cool. Let's share this. Would have I done a video on it? No, probably not. Would the vast majority of other people out there who did videos on Mario Royale, would have they done videos? Probably not. So, I mean, he got his attention. He got some views out of it. Maybe growed his channel a little bit. You know, he did have to spend money for server space with all the people jumping into these games. But it's definitely a sad time seeing DMCA Royale being no more. And the thing is, it's always funny because I know I mentioned this in a previous video. This was such a good idea. It wasn't perfect. You know, there's a lot of people who are like, this game just, who cares? It was fun. It was just stupid fun. Now, if Nintendo made this game and put it up on the Switch as a free-to-play thing, that would have been great. But watch, with the success of this, I mean, it wasn't like, I don't think millions of people were playing this. The most I would see at one time would be like over 1,000. But how many like really big AAA games out there that have an online aspect that have tanked even get that? You know, there's games out there nobody's playing online that there was a huge budget. So this had a nice little following, but I just see it like Nintendo doing something similar, and you know, seeing how popular this was, and they, you know, they would never say they got the idea from this, but it's like you have to bury these things because then you could do it yourself and not have to credit anything. Now, would you have to credit somebody who made a fan game? Not necessarily, but then at the same time, Nintendo, they're just, you know, they go after almost everything out there. It's within their right for the most part. This DMCA Royale thing, I think it's a little iffy. The Mario Royale, for sure, it's within their right. They can protect their intellectual properties. But when do they just start embracing, you know, that people are fans, that people really dig this kind of stuff? And if they're not profiting from it, but then you can argue at the same time he did profit off of it because he had a Patreon, he advertised his Patreon, he had a YouTube channel that he probably got a ton of views. I'm not sure how many views he got out of these videos, but if he's monetized, I'm sure he is. You know, I mean, pretty positive he's monetized, and he was making money off of it, you know, from doing something like this, not directly from selling the game or anything, but he did profit off of doing what he did in a sense, you know, the end result for making videos and whatnot. But there's companies out there that embrace this kind of stuff, who love seeing this kind of stuff. Maybe not completely, but some. You know, Sonic Mania is one example. Sega saw the potential. Sega saw what was being done. And it was like, sometimes the fans can do a better job than you can. When do you start just saying, you know what, we got to scoop up this talent, or, you know, get some thoughts on these ideas, you know, maybe pay this guy, you know, Nintendo work on something like this and have him like consult them. You know, I'm sure they probably wouldn't want, you know, some random YouTube guy doing their programming for them, who knows, but as like a consultant on guiding like why he envisioned this, where he saw it going, what kind of improvements would he have made, and help them make a game that would be pretty awesome. You know, Sega's done that, and I'm sure there's other examples out there. I just know Sega's one of the biggest ones. You know, a lot of times fans do things that companies catch wind of, And, you know, they'll do that cease and desist, like what Blizzard with World of Warcraft Classic. And now what's going on with that? So it's just, it's time when, man, when are these companies going to realize that the fans sometimes know what the fans want and what the fans would enjoy and start trying to utilize that? I mean, it would be great if they approached this guy, but I just don't see that being the Nintendo way. But hey, it is what it is. Sad to see Infringio go. He was definitely too good for this world. Really do appreciate you guys hanging out with me. We got a lot of cool stuff coming up. Just wanted to speak on this for a moment because a lot of people have been asking me, what's going on? Did you see this? Yeah, I seen it. It sucks. So long, Infringio. And I do appreciate you guys. And I will catch y'all next time. Peace out, bye-bye, and boom. Bye!